Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the Shed of Dread. Time for another article, and this one's in relation to the previous video. If you remember about it, it's about the awful arrest of the 16-year-old autistic girl in Leeds. So let's get this going. Right then, police officers are told they could be sacked if they question a colleague's gender, as critics say forces are abandoning their duty to tackle crime in favour of diversity. Surrey and Sussex police say gender identity questions are verbal harassment. Guidance states failure to comply could be classified as disciplinary offence. And this is why, if you go back to the previous video, a little thing will be up the top about the arrest. That's why they will not tackle the lesbian Nana-looking officer, because they can't. It's as simple as that. Because this is the way the world's gone. This is the sickness and the problems that we have. Police officers have been warned that they could be sacked for questioning a colleague's gender. Just leave that sink in for a minute. Guidance issued by Surrey and Sussex police tells officer it is verbal harassment to ask invasive questions about an individual's gender identity, because that's what fucking matters right now, isn't it? Fuck's sake. And failure to comply may be a disciplinary offence and potential lead in some cases to dismissal if a complaint is made and upheld, the policy warns. So that's just what we need, even more police officers being kicked out of the job because they dared question something. It's yet another example of the woke police force abandoning its duty to tackle crime in favour of diversity, critics say. And we just have that 16-year-old being being arrested. Ex-officer Harry Miller, who founded, and Harry Miller was the guy who runs Fair Cop, which founded the campaign group Fair Cop, after being probed by the police over a poem he posted on Twitter, said the forces are ignoring the hard graft of catching criminals. Very true. He said the police policy writers spend an inordinate amount of time down to the rainbow rabbit hole of gender identity because it makes them feel important and progressive. Indeed, it's much easier than the hard graft of actually catching criminals. God forbid the police do that. The equality, diversity and inclusion policy, the biggest stone round many people's necks, sets out the force's commitment to meet the requirements of the public sector equality duty. It tells thousands of officers, staff, special constables and volunteers to expect their support in taking a zero-tolerance approach to discrimination, and that harassment can comprise of a single incident and the individual does not have to make it clear that that behaviour is unwanted before it can amount to harassment. In other words, if somebody else hears it and don't like it, you're screwed. Examples of verbal harassment include asking invasive questions about an individual's gender identity, says the policy says. It reads, discrimination may take many forms and can have a detrimental effect on individuals. Sorry, and also remember that you also means that where you're very thin-skinned, if somebody shouts it at you and you all get all upset and you go arrest them because your feelings are hurt. Surrey police and Sussex police expect the support of every individual to take a zero-tolerance approach to the challenge and report any incident of discrimination that they become aware of, even if it's not even aimed at you, because, of course, that's also important now. Failure to comply with this policy may be a disciplinary offence, and an awful discrimination may constitute a criminal offence, and it's therefore expected that every member of the Surrey and police and Sussex police understand the contents of this policy and its obligations under law. Yeah, so the police will soon just be full of ethnic minorities and gays and lesbians who will actually get more upset about the fact someone's upset their feelings than actually doing the job that they're actually paid to do. The equality advice introduced by forces in 2019 does not state such incidents would necessarily be a disciplinary offence leading to a dismissal, the force said. But they just did. Really, they did. That's exactly what they did say. It comes after a report last year warned the British policing has lost its way. 100% it has, as members of the public fear officers are more interested in being woke than in solving crimes. Absolutely 100% true. David Spencer, a former Metropolitan Police Chief Inspector, said officers should stop taking actions including taking the knee, wearing partisan political badges and symbols that could be seen as woke. They weren't allowed. You're not allowed to because you're supposed to be neutral in all respects. The report by the Police Exchange think tank, another made-up sack of shit, also urged government to make a series of drastic reforms that include return to basics and a focus on fighting crime. No, because bending down to people's feelings is vastly more important now. Toby Young, director of the Free Speech Union, said the policy shows why it's little wonder that the force is having a recruitment crisis. Exactly. And you can also see why officers are leaving left, right and centre. Because officers that tick boxes are untouchable. He says the policy seems to entrap employees of the Surrey and Sussex Police. If they're not allowed to ask what gender their colleagues identify as, how can they be expected to call them by their preferred gender pronouns? No such thing. The pronouns don't bollocks to pronouns. I don't even agree with that. Pronouns, screw your pronouns. That's what you want to be called, fine. But I don't have to take part in the game, and I'm not gonna. Somebody asks me, fine. I haven't got any. If they ask, they'll get into trouble. But if they misgender their trans colleagues, they'll also get into trouble. It seems that they're expected to guess, but woe betide the poor officer who guesses wrong. It's little wonder why the police face a recruiting crisis. Sussex Police also faced criticism in 2021 for changing the warrant card numbers to be gender neutral. Bosses abandoned male and female identification for new officers of Forces Alphabet Network complained the system was outdated. Oh, you're hurting my feelings again. People know what gender I am by the number. Oh, my God. Oh, Jesus Christ, what a fucked up world we live in. Sussex Police spokesman said our policy is in line with thousands of other organisations across the country and meets our lawful obligations under the Equality Act, which has been misused to force bullshit upon people, which includes a gender as a protected characteristic. Bollocks. Sussex Police expects all colleagues to have a zero tolerance approach towards bullying, harassment, discrimination and discriminatory behaviour. Nah, well, I bet it doesn't. I bet it depends on who's getting bullied, harassed or discriminated against, and also very much on the colour of their skin, no doubt. But the policy does not state that any such occurrence would necessarily be a disciplinary offence that could lead to potential dismissal. But it will, won't it? Of course it will. It won't, well, no, they won't be sacked. Lives will be made such a misery they'll just want to walk away and leave instead. So they can constructively dismiss them. So his spokesman said our policy is in line. Yeah, we've already did that. Oh, yeah, sorry. Thousands of other examples includes gender by protected characteristic among the other 8 protected characteristics, which doesn't cover white, straight people, no doubt. Surrey Police expects all colleagues there, blah, blah, blah. And it's the same as the other one said. And there you go. That's another reason why no one trusts the police. And even if you work in the police now, you've got to be careful just in case you upset some poor, soft, pathetic little twat who can't be called something they don't want to hear because it's upset my feelings. You can fuck off. Yeah, that's all right, get in the car. You look like a lesbian, my lesbian nana. Arrest her with 7 people throwing the bonfire. And you wonder why no one trusts the police anymore. Any case, social media up above. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. And if you do subscribe, hit that bell and select it all and you should get a notification of another video. And with that, before I go, don't forget, just a quick one. That's right, get yourself tested. Go and get yourself a blood test. Picks up diabetes, but it picks up cancers, etc. It's a very good, quick and easy way to make sure you're all running at 100%. I know it can be difficult here in the UK to see your doctor, but please try. Just once, especially us men, because we're not very good when it comes to sorting those things out. And the other thing you got to do, as always, is just, get out my shed.